It's not that often that fans are lucky enough to rewrite their own favourite franchises. As popular as fan fiction has become in recent years, it's not actually usually a launching point for creators to work from. After all, the last thing that a director or screenwriter wants is to be accused of stealing the fandom's hard work for their iteration of a beloved property. That said, some creators have such a close relationship with the fans and know when it's a good idea to take their concepts on board. And some directors are just opportunistic enough to say, sure, why not, to a clever fan theory. So let's take a look at them. As I'm Jules, this is Whatculture.com, and these are 10 movie fan theories that became fact. Number 10. The Hunger Games. Effie and Haymitch's romance. Now, this one may have come from the fans, but it was definitely helped along the way by a cast member in its journey from fan fiction to established series canon. In the mega-successful dystopia novel series The Hunger Games, the romantic chemistry between former villainess Effie and mentor Haymitch is entirely implied, and nothing ever comes of their closeness on paper. However, Effie's actor Elizabeth Banks, who is herself a fan of the popular fan theory in question, pushed for their relationship to be made more explicit in the movies. Fans agreed, as many felt the pairing was a missed opportunity in the original books, and Woody Harrelson's chemistry with Banks was just another benefit for audiences hoping to see the two together on screen. As a result, the mega-budget adaptation of this sci-fi series made the romantic relationship between Effie and Haymitch canon thanks to the superb chemistry between the actors, and the delight of fans worldwide was enough to get them through this otherwise pretty grim and grey set of films. Number 9. Prometheus. The xenomorphs are a bioweapon. Okay, so Blade Runner director Ridley Scott's long-awaited return to the sci-fi genre Prometheus wasn't perfect. Released in 2012, the critically maligned prequel to his 1979 classic Alien was accused of overcomplicating the original film's brutal simplicity with ambitious world-building and backstory, and the cluttered storytelling did no doubt cost the film some of its potential effectiveness as a tense horror flick. But at least the added complexity managed to confirm a theory which fans had long held true about the series' monstrous antagonist, the xenomorph. Namely, the film confirms the idea that the alien is too dangerous to have been a natural product of evolution, and thus must have been intentionally engineered as a bioweapon. As Adult Swim's Robot Chicken hilariously pointed out, an acid-blooded monster is as much of a threat to itself as anyone else and wouldn't actually be perfectly adapted to any ecosystem. But it's very believable as a bioweapon, which Prometheus confirms was created by the engineers, a race of giant white spacemen almost as threatening and terrifying as the xenomorph itself. Number 8. Get Out. Being John Malkovich connections. Okay, so strap in because this one is fairly insane even as fan theories go. Jordan Peele's 2017 satirical horror Get Out sees indie star Catherine Keener play a deeply evil suburban mother who was involved in a plot to steal the bodies of black people and insert air quotes well-to-do white people's brains into them. So far, so easy to follow, right? Well, fellow director Charlie Kaufman's Being John Malkovich, meanwhile, is an earlier 1999 black comedy which saw some of its cast moving between their bodies and, well, that of the titular actor. One canny viewer decided that Catherine Keener's character in this intense horror thriller is actually the same person as her Being John Malkovich deuterologist. Older and more cynical, but otherwise unchanged. Now, it's admittedly a little far-fetched to think that Cameron Diaz's mind is inside Bradley Whitford, but the earlier film did end with the pair having a daughter whose consciousness John Cusack was trapped in. And it's easy to see that character growing up to be Alison Williams' psychotic Rose. So it's no wonder that Peele enthusiastically endorsed this theory when a fan informed him of the idea. Number 7. Saw 3D, Gordon was an apprentice. The Saw movies may have started out slick, subtle and scary, but by the third or fourth installment, Luke from Gilmore Girls had arrived on set and things were getting a little more goofy. It's the liquefied pig corpse bath featured in Saw 3 for some viewers, and the ludicrous flashbacks within flashbacks twists for others. But by the time that Saw 3D rolled around, innumerable sequels of gradually declining quality ensured that viewers were pretty certain the fandom may as well be writing these movies themselves given how silly they had become. And so it came to pass. Dr. Gordon's bombshell reveal that he was Jigsaw's accomplice ever since he escaped his death trap in the first film of the horror series was a fan-favourite theory that ended up coming true in this otherwise pretty risible effort. Jigsaw's victim in the first film, Gordon remained a favourite amongst fans thanks to, well, the actor himself. So thanks to this, his character was nonetheless revealed to have been behind much of the franchise's bloody madness. Number 6. Star Trek IV, Kirk's Hometown. Anyone familiar with Gene Roddenberry's iconic sci-fi franchise Star Trek can tell you that Captain Kirk hails from the fine state of Iowa. But have you ever wondered how the series ended up confirming the popular fan claim that he hails from that state? Well, the legend goes that the screenwriter of this fourth film, Nicholas Meyer, was told that Kirk's birthplace in Iowa was established law, and so that's what it was. And by this stage, Roddenberry had written that Kirk would actually eventually be born in Iowa, but it was the small town of Riverside whose residents took it upon themselves to petition Paramount to name their community as the captain's future birthplace. And so this studio obliged, resulting in a plaque, a few name drops later in the series, and a massive annual Trekkie festival, which has long been since a beloved tradition in the town. Number 5. Solo. What's a parsec anyway? Let's face it, as great as George Lucas's original Star Wars trilogy is, the films are filled with obvious inconsistencies that even fans of the franchise just love pointing out. For example, shortly after he's introduced as the lovable, braggadocious blowhard in A New Hope, why does Han Solo brag that he completed the Kessel run in 12 parsecs? In fact, why would anyone brag about completing any dangerous route in 12 parsecs when parsecs are a measure of distance rather than time? After all, that presumably means that the Kessel Run is the same distance for everyone, right? Well, it's probably because of a clever fan solution which 2018's otherwise passable Solo offers viewers. This imperfect prequel sees a younger Han complete the run via a shorter and far more dangerous route than most travelers usually use. Thus, the directors confirmed the ever-popular fan theory that the boast refers to his clever navigation and not his speed. And definitely not just the screenwriters misunderstanding the use of the word parsec. No, sir, that definitely couldn't be. Number 4. Transformers: Bumblebee's voice. A surprise hit with critics upon releasing in 2007, the Shia LaBeouf starring Transformers was a thrilling, genuinely funny in places, and intense action thriller/coming-of-age comedy which finally saw director Michael Bay live up to his potential as a blockbuster filmmaker. Well, live up to it for the first time since The Rock anyway. The young stars may have had great chemistry and the effects were indeed impressive, but the film's plot was very much standard get the MacGuffin from A to B territory. This wasn't a problem for viewers, but the lack of effort afforded to plotting the storyline of this hit became obvious during a Q&A with the film's writers. When a fan suggested that the all-important Allspark was used to cure heroic Bumblebee's broken voice box, the film's screenwriters admitted that the explanation made more sense than his own answer to how the voice box was miraculously returned to use. Thus, he said it might as well be canon, and now it's an established piece of franchise lore. Number 3. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, Luna and Neville. Despite the author's deeply controversial public persona thanks to some rather transphobic tweets, J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series remains one of the new millennium's biggest film franchises. The adventures of the boy who lived are beloved by millions, but there are a handful of elements which even die-hard fans of the series believe the author messed up entirely. One popular fan pairing saw the resident oddball Luna Lovegood and the lovable screw-up Neville Longbottom end up together thanks to their superb chemistry when they crossed paths in the novel. The books saw the pair end up with random magic doers in their later lives, but luckily the film adaptations didn't repeat this rather rookie mistake. In this closing chapter of the phenomenally popular series, the movie adaptation sees the fan favourite ship Neville and Luna end up together for good. The original novel series may not have opted to include this ending for the pair, but the filmmakers knew what the fans wanted, and thus viewers ended up with a far more satisfying send-off. Number 2. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Stan Lee's true role. It's fair to say that James Gunn hasn't had the easiest time working for comics movie giant Marvel. The Guardians of the Galaxy director has been met with a lot of opposition from the brand. Despite this, many fans argue his contributions to the studio's output are amongst the best in the MCU, and even in the history of comic book movies as a genre. A huge fan of the source material himself, Gunn guaranteed his place in the MCU's canon with a moment in 2017's Guardians of the Galaxy 2. For years, Stan Lee's cameos had been dotted throughout Marvel movies as a fun Easter egg for fans, but Gunn's film confirmed that these cameos were part of an overarching plot in this MCU sequel, where Lee is revealed to be one of the Watchers. It's a canny surprise that Gunn cheerfully acknowledges that he nicked from fan theories online, and one which reaffirms the director's respect for fans of the franchise. And number 1, The Grifters. Wait, was that John Cusack? Released in 1990, crime thriller The Grifters is something of an oddity in director Stephen Fry's back catalogue. It's also one of the Philomena filmmaker's finest hours on screen. While most of Fryer's work, from High Fidelity through to the criminally underrated Tamara Drew, falls under the remit of rom-com territory, The Grifters is an intense and thrilling slice of neo-noir. The film's twisty mystery stars Anjelica Huston as an aging con woman whose grifter son re-enters her life and prompts no end of dark misadventures. The film features a brutally sad ending, which won't be spoiled here, but suffice to say it's completely transformed by one fan's theory that was confirmed by the filmmakers. One viewer asked if John Cusack's character could be seen following Anjelica Huston at the close of the film, and the query was answered with a flippant, "Sure, why not?" from executive producer Martin Scorsese. Thus, the fan managed to change the film's canon ending despite the fact that the unidentified besuited man in the background was actually just a random bystander who wasn't actually meant to walk on set. But still, a win for the fans.